Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you just missed it, we just aired Big Dog Wrestling Unchained here on Pillar to Post. But this is, well, kind of related to what we do here on Pillar to Post. Yes, it's very wrestling oriented on the channel. So I've been wanting to do something for a while, and I had someone that was working on a design for a title belt. But that fell through. He ended up getting very sick and told me he could not do it any longer. So, I'm taking it upon myself. Yes, these hands right here, are going to be building, well, not really a title belt, but close enough to it. So, there is a technique that anybody at home can use to engrave. And all you need is patience, water, salt, and a little bit of electricity. And that electricity is in the form of a battery charger. Well, what do you know? I have all three. On top of that, you also need a design, which I am currently in the process of designing. But let me show you the steel. Yes, I say steel because this is the RWO and Big Dog Wrestling. We are the wasteland. Why would I use anything else but steel? So let me show you. Now, I had a friend, he works in the fabrication industry, and his main thing is working on caterpillars as well as forklifts, big heavy machinery. So, when you see the color the steel is painted, you'll get a very quick understanding of what I'm using. I'm using what was available, what was given to me, and what I can work with what I already have. Now, there's a lot of steel that needs to be hogged out of this. This is about half an inch thick of straight steel. But it was part of one thing, and it should always be brought into something new. So, that there, folks, is the chunk of steel and the shape that we will be using. Now, you'll notice it has two giant holes on the side. Well, I can weld. Now, I'm not going to close those holes with welds. Absolutely not. But I will be buying bolts that will fit directly into those holes, weld them in there, and they will be two spikes. Yes, true wasteland nature. Now, here's the conundrum I am working with. Now, as you can see, it's very octagon type shape, just a little bit narrower. So, I was thinking the top says Renegade Wrestling Organization, the bottom says Big Dog Wrestling, the middle says RWO, or I could just do one for RWO and one for Big Dog Wrestling. I have two of these plates here. Now, if I had the equipment and the abilities, I would try and cut this thing right directly down the middle. You can see how thick it is right there. And make two out of it. This weighs about 10 pounds, folks. That's 10 pounds of steel right there for you. So I need to hog some of this down, and I want to try and give it a bit of a shape, so it kind of, when it's sitting flat on the table, it's kind of rounded, you know? Give it that kind of, concave look to it, so that way, if someone does decide they want to put it on a strap and pretend they are the RWO or Big Dog Wrestling Champion, you know what, this one is going to be the Wasteland Championship title plaque. So there's a lot of grinding I've got to do. That is going to be the majority of the work there. And then the work in the design, and I'm using the old design for a championship title that was made like maybe 10, 11 years ago by a good friend of mine. But I want something updated. I want something new. The design is supposed to be fresh. It's supposed to represent everything about the wasteland. Here's a little conundrum I'm having. a decision that I want to make. Do I paint it? Or there is a technique where you heat the steel up with a torch, and then you take a brass wire brush and you rub the entire surface with that wire brush, and it will leave the brass as a cover over top of the steel. It would then give it that gold look to it. Now, utilizing the engraving technique I am planning on using, the engraved areas will look dark, like kind of like they're burnt. I'm going to usually they say you run it for about half an hour. I'm going to run it longer. I want the engraving. I want the etching to be deep. I want it to be very distinctive, that it is engraved and there is shape to it. And as I stated, it will be something that is rounded. So as you can see, we're taking a flat surface and trying to put a little bit of a shape to it. Not exactly the easiest thing to do, but as I stated, there is a lot of material right there. This is straight off of a caterpillar, I believe. And it is a project that I will be doing now that it's getting colder outside. I've got one more job on the hot rod to do. I haven't been able to get to it because I've got to get a cherry picker, or as some people call it, a engine hoist. So this will be a cold weather project for me. And like I said, there will be two. Now, here's the thing though. Do I give it away in a raffle where you have to pay a certain amount in order to get involved with the raffle? Or do we hold a tournament? Now, men and women can both join if it is a tournament within the wrestling game, but women will have to choose a male wrestler for the matches. They will have to either create one or have one created, tell me to upload them, and then when this is done, and it will be shown before the tournament even takes place, I want you guys to all see what my mind has created here for RWO, for Big Dog Wrestling, and for Pillar to Post. Now, this one might be the Wasteland title, and the other one might be the Pillar to Post plaque. But either way, there's going to be two plaques to be won in the end. We'll think of a way to have a winner. And like I stated, it can be in a tournament where you have to pay to get involved with this tournament. Because let's not kid ourselves. Even after I hog out a lot of this material by grinding away for hours and hours on end, it is still going to cost a pretty penny to ship. Because I can take about 5 pounds away off of this to give it some shape still. But after that, it's still 5 pounds, and it still has to be shipped to the winner. And if that winner ends up being, say, in Australia, or India, or Texas, or anywhere in the US or here in Canada, it can be just as expensive mailing something to someone in Canada as it does to send it in the US. So it's going to be a pretty penny to send this to the winner, but a winner it shall have. And we will have it showcased on the channel throughout the tournament. We'll do updates, sort of like I'm doing now, to showcase it, and from week to week give you who won, who lost, who's advancing, and who's got the opportunity and the odds-on favorite to win the tournament. And let's not kid ourselves, with the games that we've got, and we're utilizing WWE 2K19 right now, anything can happen. It doesn't matter the way you set up your wrestler, anything can happen. Now, I will be creating a third account on my PS4 just for this alone. Any wrestler that wants to be involved. Now, the way I was thinking about it, $5 per entry. If you want more than one wrestler, it is $10 for two or $20 for three. I am going to do this so that way everyone gets an opportunity that wants to be involved. And if you want a little bit more advantage by having more than one wrestler, and see who walks away holding the very first Pillar to Post Championship plaque. And like I stated, this one will be the Wasteland. Now, I'm hoping to get both done during the winter time, but it is what it is. It will take as long as it takes, but one for sure will be done by, I'm going to say, December. So, this is going to be a nice experiment for me, a nice challenge, and it gives me something to do when my girls are at school, when my son's at work and my wife's at work, and I have nothing better to do than just to hog out a whole lot of fucking steel. Life ain't easy. Why should a project? But it's going to be good. I'm going to make sure the design is fitting. I'm going to make sure that it looks good. And I'm going to let you leave it in the comments section. Do I paint the engraved areas, or do I utilize that brass wire brush style and make it look a bit on the gold side? Either way, I will clear coat it when it's done to make sure that it never rusts. And we're going to have some fun. The first issue I'm going to have is getting rid of all that awful yellow paint. But until it's done, I'm going to leave the backside yellow, as much of it as I can, because we have to make both sides rounded. So, I hope you're all down for this. I will be covering my progress with this. I probably will be videotaping some of it and uploading it to the channel to show you the progress on it, to see how much work is going into this. There is probably going to be a good, I'm going to say good 100 hours. Probably not that much. We'll say 50 hours of working on this, because I'm going to go through grinder discs like a mofo. It is not going to be easy work, let me tell you. And to make sure both sides are even and look symmetrical and don't look completely messed up. And then I've got to transfer vinyl tape over the design. Like basically cover the sheet of the steel with vinyl tape, something like you would use on your vehicle as like stickers and stuff. Draw the design on there, and then cut it all out with a little X-Acto knife, and then submerge it in salt water. Have a sacrificial piece of steel in there for the negative wire, and then a positive hooked up to this one right here, and that will engrave the entire surface that I don't have covered. And we will have our very first championship plaque here on Pillar to Post. So that is the idea, folks. That is the plan. And I kind of like it. I'm building it myself because it really fits the theme of the Wasteland. We create everything in the game together, and we create something out of something already disposed of, you know? Like, that's been the whole Wasteland theme. Mad Max meets wrestling. And what better way to design a championship title than grabbing a piece of steel that's been cast aside and turning it into something completely new and different to be used. So, once again, this will be the size. This will not be the shape, because that would be too easy. And that would be way too damn heavy to hang up on your wall. So we're going to hog off about half of this weight here by giving it some shape. And then we will go from there. And we'll give you weekly updates, because I'm going to be starting perhaps this weekend. And I'll take some footage of it, and I will do a weekly update on the progress, the look, and perhaps the design as well. I think the design will be shown right before the engraving, and then we're going to just drop it in the bucket of water, let the battery charger do its job, engrave the steel, and we've got our very first championship title plaque, or if you go and decide to put it on the strap, we've got our very first one for Pillar to Post. I want to thank you all for joining me. I just did about 2 hours on the PS4 as a stream, and then a follow-up of this one. I would have liked to have gone live, but when I go live, it tends to go a lot longer than I want it to, and I've got a wife to be picked up at 9 o'clock. And I know there's a couple of yous that really like to reel me in to keep me on just a little bit longer. And I appreciate it. I love hanging out with you guys. You're a great crew to be around. You're great subscribers. Now, don't forget, we're sponsored by Audible. So you want to check that link out in the description below. It's audibletrial/pillar to post. Check it out. Click the link. Enjoy the free 1 month, deal that Audible has given you. It helps my channel. It helps you guys. You get something for free. So have a great night. Always have a better tomorrow. But for now, as always, I am out of here.